Now, a lot of you guys and a lot of traders like to see different either different time frames at the same time on your chart, or maybe different currency pairs of the same time frame. So what I've got in this screenshot here is an example of having it's all the same time frame but different currency pairs. You might want to look at the Swiss franc, the US dollar, in a 4-hour chart at the same time as looking at the euro US dollar. So two European currencies versus the US dollar at the same time, as well as some other currencies as well. So they're all 4-hour charts. We've got them all open on our screen at the same time. The question is, how do we do that in an efficient and effective manner? Well, let's check it out. Okay. Having multiple charts open allows you to analyze more than one currency pair and time frame at once. The first thing to do is simply open up a chart like you would any other chart. So you either go to File in the top left corner, or you click on the little icon as well. And once you do that, you choose the chart that you would like to have set up, or that you'd like to see. The second thing that you do is click on Window. And you can see we've zoomed in here. And when you click on Window, you have options as to how you can view the multiple charts that you have set up. So here's where you can decide how you would like to see the charts that you have displayed. And we can look at that on MetaTrader 4. So let's add another chart on MetaTrader 4. I'm just going to take a little shortcut right here. Click on that. I'm going to add the Swiss franc as well. So now you'll see that it's defaulted to this type of chart that we looked at earlier. I'm going to show you how to create your template and to save your template later, so you don't have to go through the whole process every single time. But for the moment, you can see I've now got two charts, but they're kind of all over the place, and I'd like them to be organized very quickly for me. So what we want to do is come up here to Window, and I can decide how I'd like my charts to be seen. I can cascade them, which is very clever. I can tile them horizontally, or I can tile them vertically. Whatever works best for you. You get a feel for it, and you see what you want to do. Let's say if I want to add a couple more charts. Let's say I want to look at the euro as well. Let's say I want to look at the Aussie too, all in one. So what I'll do is I come back up here to Window, and you can see how quick and easy this does everything for me. Let's tile them horizontally, and I got my nice 4 charts all open at exactly the same time, and I'm free to look around, change time frames, or really whatever I want to do to analyze my 4 charts all at the same time. It's also important to understand that once you have all the charts on your screen, you may want to go back to just simply viewing one of them, or kind of zoom in and focus in specifically on one of the charts that you have. It's very easy to do that. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can either double click on the top of the individual screen, or you can come down here and you'll see there's some options down here, and this really is all the chart. This little set of tabs, there'll be a tab for every chart that you have open, and you can click on that as well. So let's have a look on MetaTrader. So if I would just want to look at the sterling US dollar 30-minute chart, I can simply double click on the top of the chart, and now I've got the full chart back. If I want to come back to my and you can see the tabs down here as well actually. So we've got all of our tabs at the bottom, and I can just alternate through those that way. If I want to go back to viewing all of my currency pairs at the same time, I can either go up to Window and tile them horizontally or vertically, or I could minimize the screen and it would come straight back to that. Now that I know how to have my charts appear on MetaTrader 4, I want to be able to switch between different currency pairs. Again, very simple process here. So to get a list of currency pairs, first of all, you need to click on this little button up here called the Market Watch. The shortcut for that is Control M, M for market obviously, and that will give you this list of currency pairs right through here that you can click on to view in your chart. Okay. To change the chart from one currency pair to another, you simply you click on the currency pair and you drag it and you drop it into the chart. So for instance, right here, this was currently a USD, or this was a USD Swiss franc chart, 4-hour chart. What I did was I grabbed cable right here and I drug it and dropped it straight into the chart, and you can see that the chart is now changed. So I'll also give you an example on MetaTrader 4 just to make sure that you can see it happen in real time. Right, so I'll get a nice big screen here. I want to get my currency pairs, so to do that I can either hit Control M or I can come right up here and click the market watch in the toolbar, and you can see when I click the market watch I get a list of currency pairs that appear. So we're currently GBP USD 30-minute chart. Let's put it on an hourly chart, and let's say I want to look at the euro. So I'm going to grab the euro and I'm going to drag it and I'm going to drop it onto the chart, and you can see once I do that the chart is now changed from euro to, or from sterling to a euro chart. And I can do that for all my charts. Let's say, you know, I want to see now Japanese yen with the US dollar over there, and I want to see this currency pair here, and I can just drag and drop and the charts will change automatically for me. So it's a very simple process. So we understand how to get a chart onto our screen, and we also understand how to get multiple charts onto our screen. We understand how to change the time frames. We understand how to swap back and forth between candlesticks and OHLC bars. We understand how to get the market watch list of currency pairs up on our screen and to toggle between different currency pairs. Now we want to look at adding, removing, and editing indicators on our MetaTrader 4. Now you'll notice at the Lazy Trader we don't get too carried away with lots of indicators. We feel as though indicators, an overload of indicators, cause confusion, and that's not really what you want to have when you're trading. You need to be really we're searching for clarity. So our indicators are meant to bring clarity. So we're going to look first of all adding, editing, and removing a very common indicator that we like to use, which is just simply a moving average. Okay, the first thing you want to do, and I'll talk you through some slides here and then we'll look at a live example on MetaTrader 4. First thing you want to do is click on Insert right up at the top in the standard toolbar. And when you click on Insert, you'll have this box come up here, and then you're going to scroll over Indicators because we're looking to add or edit or remove an indicator. And then you want to go down and click Trend, because the moving average indicator is found, or is kind of a subcategory of the category Trend. And you'll scroll right over there and you'll get the moving average. Okay, so Insert, Indicators, Trend, Moving Average. Okay, once you've selected your moving average, this box will appear, and this is going to allow you to choose what type of moving average you want, whether you want it to apply to the open or close or high or low, the color of it, the style of it, everything. It really allows you to customize the visual appearance of your indicator. We're going to stick with the 50 period exponential moving average applied to the close of the bar or candle, and we're going to have it red. Okay, that's just kind of what we do, how we use that. The Lazy Trader. So, and again, you're going to be able to do whatever you want, but for the moment that's what it's going to be. And you can see once we've done that, the red indicator, which is a moving average, has been applied to our screen. So the 50 EMA exponential moving average now appears on your chart. It was a very simple process. Okay, now let's say we'd like to add another indicator to our chart. A lot of times you'll see 50s and 200 EMAs used to determine the general trend. So let's add the 200 on there. We're going to go through the exact same process. We're going to insert the indicator, trend, moving average. Once we do that, this box will appear. We can edit the period. We're going to make it 200. We're going to keep it on exponential, and we're going to apply it to the close of the bar. That's the most common type of moving average to trade with. So you probably don't want to go messing with those too much. And we're going to keep it at, we're going to change it to lime green. We're going to kind of have the moving averages match the color of the bars. And you can see here that the 200 period moving average has now been applied to the screen. Now once you have your moving averages on your screen, you might just want to change them for whatever reason. You might say, actually, I'm tired of looking at a red 50 EMA. I want it to be blue or purple or pink or whatever color you want it to be. Or maybe you say, actually, let's look at the 30 EMA, but you don't want to add another moving average. You just want to edit an existing moving average. So very simple. To edit or amend an existing moving average on your screen, double click on the moving average. And when you do that, this little box will appear once again. And it's also important to understand, while we're talking about indicators, every single indicator that you ever put on your MetaTrader 4 chart, you can edit it in exactly the same way. You're simply going to click on it, double click on it. Some of them you right click on them, but you click on it and you'll get a box that will come up, and it will allow you to edit the indicator. So double clicking on the indicator, making the changes right in here, and then selecting OK will be able to make that change for you. If you would like to edit or change or amend multiple indicators, you might have 3 or 4 moving averages on your screen with some pivot points and maybe volume or another kind of popular indicator. There's another way to do it as well, and the way to do that is by simply clicking. Well, first of all, you can either right click again and go to an indicators box, or you can click Control I. If you do Control I, you're going to get this indicator box, which is going to pop up here. Okay, and you can see in the indicator box, you'll have all of your indicators will be shown at the same time, and you can just select the one you want to edit or delete. Once you select it, you can then click over here, and you'll be able to edit or delete any of your indicators. And so that's kind of a shortcut. If you've got lots of indicators and you don't want to go through right-clicking on every single one of them, you can do it that way. So Control I is going to do that for you. So let's have a look here, back on MetaTrader 4, walk through some of the stuff we've been talking about, and see what happens. Right, so let's add a moving average here to, let's make this sterling USD. We'll make it nice and big, and we're going to add the moving average to this chart. So first thing we do, come up and click Insert. From Insert, we go to Indicators. From Indicators, we're going to go down to Trend, because the moving average is what's known as a trend indicator. So we click on moving average, and our box appears. So we wanted to add a 50-period moving average, so I'm going to go 50 here. I wanted it to be exponential, and I wanted it to be applied to the close of the bar, so that's all sorted out for me. And I like my 50 to be red. So I've got that all set, and I click OK. And as soon as I do that, the 50-period moving average is now applied to my chart. And let's also add the 200 in there as well, just because I think that's part of the example here. So let's click Insert, Indicator, Trend, Moving Average once again. And we'll do the 200 as well. And we want that to be some form of green. Now we've got both of our indicators on our screen. To edit them individually, you can see here, I can right click on the indicator, or I can double click on the indicator, and I'll get my box. Let's say for whatever reason I want to change this to 30, and I want to change it to yellow. I can do it just like that, and my red 50 EMA changes to a yellow 35 EMA. If I want to change it back, I'll just double click on it and come in here, and I can make all of the necessary changes to my moving average. Now the other thing we could do was click Control I, and by clicking Control I get this indicators box that appears. This indicator box allows me to select which indicator I have on my screen and go edit it from there. And you'll see this little box appears again, which allows me to set the parameters to the specific indicator that I've clicked on. So very simple. Another indicator that we like to use at the Lazy Trader are what's known as pivot points. Okay, it's a very popular indicator, especially for the stuff that we trade. We focus heavily on support and resistance and horizontal levels. The pivot point, ironically, does not come with MetaTrader 4 as a default. So we have to go get this indicator and download it onto our MetaTrader 4. It is a very simple process. To get the indicator, come to www.thelazytrader.com, and we can provide you with the indicator. What I want to do now is show you how to upload the indicator to your MetaTrader 4. And again, like everything else here, it is a very simple process. The first thing you need to do is save the file to your computer somewhere. You could save it anywhere on your computer, your desktop or whatever. But once you get it saved to your computer, you need to go and take it specifically to your indicators folder on your computer. To get to your indicators folder, you go straight through this path: computer, local disk, program files, MT4 client terminal, experts, and indicators. And that is where ultimately this pivot point indicator file that you would have downloaded from the lazytrader.com needs to be saved. Once you've saved it there, you simply double click on the pivot point file, and this screen will appear. And in this screen, you're going to simply click compile, and that will compile, and that will bring the indicator into MetaTrader 4. Okay, so MetaTrader 4 will now recognize this indicator. After compiling, you need to exit the screen. If you had MetaTrader open during the process of doing that, you need to close it down and restart it. If you didn't have MetaTrader 4 open, you can now open MetaTrader 4 and you will see that the indicator is now uploaded onto your MetaTrader 4. It's a very simple process. Get the file from lazytrader.com, from the lazytrader.com, save it in your indicators folder, double click compile, and start MetaTrader 4. And you can see here, once you started MetaTrader 4, that this pivot points indicator will now be found in the indicator section of your MetaTrader 4. Now, the difference of finding it from the moving averages is hardly anything. You start off by going up to Insert again, Indicators, but at this time, instead of going to Trend, you're going to go to Custom. And that's because this is a custom-made indicator. It did not come as a default. Once you select Custom, you'll get this drop-down menu here, and you're going to select Pivot Points. And once you've selected Pivot Points, this box will appear. And this is just, again, allowing you to set the inputs and the parameters for the indicator that you are looking at. There's 3 different types of pivot points. There's the daily pivot points, which are based on the previous day's data. There's the weekly pivot points, which will be for a whole week based on the previous week's information, and the same with monthly, only over a larger time frame. So if you want to use daily pivots, you select this and make sure that it's true. So it's true that you want to see daily pivots. Your set of daily pivots will come up. It'll be your main pivot point and your 3 levels of support and your 3 levels of resistance. If you'd like to see weekly pivots, obviously, you turn this one to false and you go down and select true next to weekly pivots. You can only do one at a time, so make sure that you only have one of these set to true. Colors is another place that you can change what you're looking at. Maybe you want your pivot point to be bright blue, and you want it to be dotted, and you want it to be twice the size of every other pivot point, or of every other support and resistance level. That's fine. Select colors, and you can go straight through it and begin to make the changes and customize what your pivot point looks like. Once you select OK, your pivot points will appear on your chart, and they will look either exactly like this or exactly how you've changed them and customized them to. So let's have a look at going through that entire process on our MetaTrader 4 chart. So the first thing we're going to do is click on Insert, because we're inserting an indicator. From there, we're going to go down, and unlike the moving average, which was found under the trend category, we're going to go down to Custom, because this is an indicator which we've uploaded to our MetaTrader 4. And we're then going to select Pivot Points. And you'll see once I select Pivot Points, I get my indicator box that appears, and I can look at the inputs, and I can change the colors as well. So I'm happy with the colors. The inputs, let's say I want to look at daily pivot points, I want to make sure that's true. If I wanted to look at other ones, I would double click, turn that to false, and turn the one that I'd like to see to true. Okay, but you need to make sure you only have one at the same time, or just one open on its own. You can't have more than one open at the same time. So let's click on true and see what happens. And there is my pivot points. Now it looks a bit messy because I've got my pivot points up there with my moving averages. So just as a little review exercise, let's look at getting rid of those 2 moving averages. The quickest way would be Control I, and there's my indicators, and I can go delete and delete. Just like that, my moving averages are gone. Okay, and I'm free to look at my chart without too much confusion, without being too busy. If I want to edit my pivot points, we know there's a couple different ways I can do it. Again, I can go Control I, which is a feature I like to do. I can click on pivot points and I can edit it that way, or I can double click directly on the pivot points, and this box will appear, allowing me to customize or change some of the features about the specific indicator. And as we saw while we were looking on MetaTrader 4 there, editing or even removing the indicator of the pivot points in this instance, it's pretty simple. Control I, or we can right click the indicator or double click the indicator as well. There's a couple different ways you can get it going, and we can make the amendments there. Okay, so adding, removing, and editing indicators is easy. You go up to Insert, you click on Indicators, you find the indicator that you want, and you go with it. You'll have the opportunity to set the parameters and change the styles and customize the indicator as you go through that process.
What do you think of that? Trading does not have to be difficult or time-consuming. In fact, all you need to become a profitable lazy trader is a single strategy which you can trade for only minutes a day. Visit thelazytrader.com and download for free 5 rapid ways to become highly profitable at Forex trading and your trade secret video pack so that you can copy the winning elite and rapidly accelerate your long-term success in financial markets trading. Trade profitably from as little as minutes a day and beat the banks and brokers at their own game. This is available for a limited time, so download it today. www.thelazytrader.com. It's free, fun, and most importantly, it will help you. Visit thelazytrader.com.